I'm Steve Johnson with Nebraska Star Beef, and this is our feature Friday. We're trying something a little different with the video. But what we're going to do today is break down this cut of beef. This is referred to as a Pismo, P-S-M-O, and this is the cut that turns into Filet Mignon. There are only 2 of these on every head of beef. What we're doing here, as soon as we get the Pismo out of the bag, we're gonna trim the silver skin. What the silver skin is just a tendon that grows on this muscle, and if you don't get this peeled off, it can make the steak really, really tough. So it's really important to get this trimmed. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do after we get the Pismo trimmed up, get the silver skin off, we're gonna remove the part of the cut that's called the head, or this area right here. And to do that, we're just gonna follow the seam and that's the head. And then we'll square this up. And this is where we're going to start cutting our steaks. We'll turn this in. This will probably turn into 1, maybe 2 fillets depending on how we cut them. So the rest of it will end up being trim. All right, the first thing we're going to do is cut the head into a couple steaks. Now we've still got some tendons and a little bit of silver skin on this side that we need to clean off. That'll come off real easy. Down here, and then we're just going to cut it off there. Now we'll go ahead and square this end off. That'll go with the lean trim. And we're going to get this, we'll make this into 2 steaks. And what you want to do when you're cutting a steak, you can see the grain. You always want to cut across the grain. We're going to kind of get him stacked up a little bit that way because this is narrower, so we're going to crowd the knife this way to keep them even. Cut that, and then you've got 2 really nice looking fillets. What we're going to do now is move into the main piece of the Pismo. On the ends, where it's a little thinner, a little more narrow, you want to cut those a little longer. We're going to cut that steak like that, which is still cutting across the grain, so your grain's running this way, so we're cutting this way. In this steak, what we'll want to do is just take a toothpick and wrap it in a circle, and that makes a nice fillet. Now, with that one out of the way, we're going to get into what is called the center cut fillets. And the really expensive fillets at the really expensive restaurants come from about this much of that total primal that we cut. And again, grain's going this way. We're just going to slice it just like a loaf of bread to make these steaks. And you want to make them 1.5 inches, 2 inches thick, or if you want them thicker, cut them thicker. The beauty of cutting your own meat is you can do it however you want. So that wraps up how to cut fillets out of the Pismo. We ended up with 12 fillets. They're all in the 6 to 8 ounce range, really nice cuts. We ended up with this much trim that's basically unusable. There's about a pound there. And we ended up with about a pound of lean trim. Now that trim could be ground into burgers. Honestly, it's really good meat, so what we'll probably do there is season that and cook it with a couple of these steaks for lunch. But that's how you make a fillet.